Hello and welcome to this video about the Telefunken M15a master recorder. Now, the story of the M15a begins in 1971 when Telefunken released M15, which is the predecessor to this machine. And this was a fully discrete recorder and the successor of the M10 recorder from the 1960s. So M15 was actually a German answer to the well-known Studer A80 from Switzerland, which Studer actually released a year before. So the M15 on itself was quite successful and found its way into many European studios. Now, a few years after the release of the M15, the M15a was released, which is this specific recorder. There were some cosmetic changes in this area. The introduction of a digital tape counter, and also a lot of the electronics were now controlled by ICs instead of being controlled by discrete components. So inside, which we will see later, there are a lot of MOS ICs from the 4000 series in this machine. Also new with the M15a was the option list, which grew significantly larger than what it was with the M15. When we look at the layout, the general layout of the recorder, it is actually quite simple. You have your two winding plates for the tape here, three large and heavy tape rollers, one of which actually controls the timer. You have the pinch roller here. Here we have the controls, so you have the wind button. When we press this, we can either wind backwards or forwards. We have the record button, our variable speed handle for the winding. We have the play button, stop button, the speed indicator. So this is not a push button, this is simply an indicator at which speed the capstan is rolling, and the reset button for the counter. So if you press this button, counter goes to 0. Furthermore, we have the pilot light, which is specific to this machine. We have our edit switch. And over here we have the hour counter, which is currently set at 4686 hours. We have the power button, the speed select button, and the remote control button. So if you push this button, the machine is in remote control. It can be controlled by the operator. Further away, now it's in local mode. This is our speed control button, so if we push this, it will switch to 38 centimeters per second. The stop button will indicate that the capstan is ready and at speed. If we push it again, the motor speed drops. We wait for the stop button to illuminate. This will tell us that the capstan is ready and at the correct speed. And now we can start our recording. This specific recorder, as some of you may have noticed, is not a standard M15a. And it's not because it has a dark brown colored front plate, when the standard M15a has an aluminium colored front plate. And this was actually done, this was a requirement, sorry, from the ZDF, the second German television, because the aluminium colored front plate actually blinded the operators. So the studio lights were shining on this machine and reflecting in the eyes of the operators. And they complained about it to Telefunken, so Telefunken made them a version with a dark colored front plate. Secondary, this machine has a few options that are also not standard. So on this side we have the SP15A selection panel, and here we can select mono or stereo, NAP or CCIR, recording on channel 1, recording on channel 2, recording of the time code we can also select on this machine, and the sync buttons, but they are not connected right now. Second, we have the SZ15A variable speed control module. So with this module we can control the speed of the capstan down or up, all the way actually to 166%. This will be demonstrated later in the video. To start recording, first we select our recording speed. We can choose between 38 centimeters per second or 19 centimeters per second. Second, we select our tracks that we want to record. So in this case, it's channel 1 and channel 2. And finally, we press the record and the play button at the same time. Now the machine is recording. When we want to finish recording, we simply press the stop button. And the machine stops recording. If we want to play back our recording, we simply press the play button. Now this machine comes with a variable speed option. It's called the SZ15A and this module. So right now we are in, the green light is burning, so we are in sync mode. This means that the capstan motor inside of the machine is quartz locked. If we want to have variable speed, we switch this to variable speed. The red light of variable comes on, and now we can control the speed up and downwards. To put the machine back into quartz lock mode, we flick the switch back to quartz lock. To rewind the tape or fast forward, this is very simple to do on the Telefunken. Just press the wind button, and with this lever we can actually set the speed at which we would like the machine to wind. So we can set it very slow, or we can set it to very fast, or a setting in between. I believe there are about 5 different speed settings in each direction that you can choose. If you want to change the direction, you don't have to push a button, you simply flick the switch the other way. Once you're done, simply press the stop button or put the lever in the middle. This machine is a 2-track machine, which means that we can selectively erase or record each of the channels as we wish. Now, on a 2-track machine, the audio tracks are actually separated, physically separated on the tape by a space of 2 mm. When on a stereo machine, the separation of the 2 tracks is only 0.75 mm. So a 2-track machine has better separation of the channels and a little bit less signal to noise ratio, about 3 dB less than a stereo machine. However, a stereo machine has more crosstalk. Yeah, so this is audio actually that you can hear it on the left channel, you can hear a little bit audio from the right and vice versa. So this machine is a 2-track machine. You can see that on the erase head. You can see the 2 different erase spots for erasing the tape. This is the record head for the audio, the record head for the time code, the playback head for the time code, the playback head for the pilot tone, which is, if you can see it on the video, a little bit moved backwards because it's not in use. And this is the playback head for the audio. The head block can be very simply removed. If you unscrew these 2 screws, you can simply lift it up and take it out and replace it with another one. Very elegant design. So this is what the front of the machine looks like. So what do we see here? It's all the audio connectors. So the output for the audio, the input for the audio, channel 1, channel 2. The Pilco connector, this is for channel 1 and channel 2, special connector there. And the time code playback and time code record connectors. So a bit special about this machine is that these are XLR, because normally Telefunken used Großtuchel connectors, which are a different kind of audio connector. But on this machine, or it was maybe it was an aftermarket modification by the previous owner. This I'm not sure. Next to the connectors, we have the giant flywheel connected to the actually rather small looking but still very powerful capstan motor, which is located here in the corner, as far away as possible from the audio cards to avoid any interference from the motor. This flywheel is actually massive in size. Here's a close-up. And inside of the flywheel there is a tacho generator. So when it rotates, it generates a signal, and that signal is then compared to the quartz signal to actually keep the speed of the capstan motor stable. Yeah. On the side here we have some flat cable connectors. This specific one is connected to the selection panel on the top side of the machine, so where we can select track 1, track 2, the synchro. So this little panel is connected via this connector to the logic of the machine. So let's have a look at the audio cards. So this is what is called the audio rack, and all the PCBs you see in here, they all have a function within the audio stream of the machine. So all of these PCBs are modular. You can simply slide them out, and the modules all look like this or similar like this. So on this specific machine, all the electrolytic capacitors have been replaced, and also all the tantalum capacitors as well. Yeah. These PCBs are actually quite nice. I mean, I've serviced a lot of decks, but these PCBs are well done, well laid out, and they are double-sided and with through-hole, metallized through-hole barrels, which is quite nice. Yeah. So what do all these PCBs do? Well, let's start on the left side. This is WV1 and WV2. Which means W stands for Wiedergabeverstärker or playback amplifier. So this PCB takes its audio directly from the playback head, and its output goes directly here to the two outputs of the machine. So you will see a lot of potentiometers here. They are laid out actually. The layout is actually quite simple. So you have the P, which stands for pegel or level. And when it is blue, it is for the 19 centimeter speed. Yeah? So all these controls are for 19 centimeters, and these are for 38 centimeters. So you have P for pegel, level, T for tiefen, or the low end equalizer, H1 and H2 for about 8.5 kilohertz and about 12 kilohertz. So with these three, we can actually set the equalizer to the playback equalizer to a flat curve. Next to the Wiedergabeverstärkers, we have our AV cards. These are the Aufnahmeverstärkers, so the record amplifiers. Here again we have the P, the H1 and the H2 controls. So again the low tones, high tones and very high frequency tones. And also the VM, which is Vermagnetisierung, or the bias. Yeah, so bias for the low speed setting, and red is bias for the high speed setting. The next card is the Stabiloge PCB. The main function of this PCB is to provide these four cards with plus 35 and minus 35 volts, and also to provide the erase head, which is in the head stack with the erase signal. Yeah. There's also a little switch here. If you set that, then the deck will not erase. Yeah. The US PCB is the Umschalter PCB, and what this does is it lets you switch between NAP equalization or CCIR equalization. This is controlled by the select panel on the top side of the machine. So there is a button. If you push it, you have NAP equalization. If you push it again, you have CCIR equalization. The WZ PCB, located over here, is the record amplifier for the timecode. No, I'm sorry. This is the record amplifier for the timecode, and it's actually a standard audio versterker card. So again, you have the VM for bias, for the low speed and high speed, and the WZ is the playback amplifier for the time code. And last we have PW, so this is the pilot tone playback amplifier. So this is for the pilot tones, pilot playback and pilot record over here. So this is what these PCBs do. So this is what the back of the machine looks like. Let me start here at the left corner. The serial number and the model number of the machine are located over here. So as you can see, this is serial number 4009. Now I believe Telefunken made these in this, the highest serial number was about 5600, I think. So this is a bit later model. This specific recorder was delivered in Mainz in 1982 to the ZDF, Zweites Deutsches Fernsehen. And you can also see that because all around the recorder and the trolley you can find the specific signs from ZDF. Below that we have our main power connector and the main fuses located over here, and the main ground connection. So everything on this deck is grounded with very thick cable. Also the trolley is grounded. Yeah. Next to the main power switch we have the transfo, which is located behind this variable. These are resistors that you can set with a little screw, which control the tape tension, if I'm not mistaken. And these are the main switches for all the voltage rails inside of the machine. On the right of that, you can actually see one of the reel motors, which is huge, very large motor. Below the transfo, we have another PCB rack that you can see here, and this is a control PCB rack. So let me start on the left side. The BCTR11, this is the control PCB for the capstan motor. So this makes sure that the capstan motor runs in quartz lock. Next to this, this is the BCNA2 card, and you will see that there is a large connector on it, which actually this connector plugs into that. And this is a connecting cable, maybe you could see it on the video, that goes to the variable speed module on the top side of the machine. Next to that is an empty slot. Normally you would put the PCB inside of there to control remote functions. So if you want to control this machine remotely from your workstation, you need to slide the extra module in here and connect your remote device to that. So actually this card and the one missing are two remote control cards. Next to that we have the BCLG13 PCB, and this is a very important one because it controls all the logic functions of the machine. Yeah? So each and every signal inside of the machine is routed through that logic control PCB. Yeah. Maybe you can see it. It's full of ICs actually. So a lot of MOS 4000 series ICs on there. Next to that we have the WS12. WS stands for Wickelsteuerung. So this controls these large wheel motors. Yeah. And as a final PCB we have the OT12, and this is the oscillator driver. So this PCB generates all the signals, the frequency signals that are needed inside of the machine. So it provides 300 kilohertz and a number of other signals as well. Yeah. So all of these PCBs are located in the control PCB rack on the back of the machine. This specific recorder is sitting in the Telefunken trolley called the True 800. which means that it's 800 millimeters wide. There also exists a through a 700, which doesn't feature this specific part, so then the trolley stops here. This is actually the widest trolley available for this recorder from Telefunken. To give you an idea of the size of this recorder, I've put a 19-inch device on the shelf, as you can see here. So this is a standard 19-inch device, and I will have to zoom out a little bit to get the whole recorder in the frame. So it's actually quite a large machine. Thank you for watching. I hope you liked the video. If you do, please do not hesitate to click the like button. And if you would like to see more videos like this on this machine and other machines, click the subscribe button so you will be notified when a new video comes online. Thank you. Bye.